This is our 10th equinox, spring equinox in Northern Hemisphere, fall equinox in Southern Hemisphere, that we come together, and the coordination group of the 2025 initiative to share the vision for the year and our plans for the year. And it's always this time of equinox, time of the new astrological year, and it's really special time. Special maybe because it's spring here, but it's always recognition that, yeah, one more year, we're getting closer to 2025, whatever that means for us. This sharing today, it's the result of the 6 months of a retreat that our group been starting from end of September. We were meeting almost every week, and we meditated, shared, and that's what we will be sharing with you today, the results of this. And in between of this once a week sharings, we had 3 of us had a chance and a blessing to be together physically in Israel. And so that was a big highlight of our retreat as well. And today we will share with you some of the recognition that seem to be very important at this time, but they're not unique for our group. The same ideas we hear come into many groups, and many groups come up to recognize those realities that's now unfolding. But before we go into that, into sharing these recognitions, Claire suggested that we probably should explain a little bit about our group, how we work, and just to give a bit more information about us. And so I will have a role today of a prompter, inviting people to share, but overall, as Claire said at the beginning, we want to hold this spirit of hygge, of cozy comfort, and so we invite anyone to share any moment, because we want to have it live and informal, as if we were
in a circle. You have to sit in a circle.
In a circle around the fire. And so may I prompt either you, Claire, or Daniela, just to tell a little bit about our group, how we work, and what we do.
Yes, maybe I can start. Sorry for my voice. So I'm reflecting what I wanted to share. There is this idea that we are, rather than being called a group, there is this idea of a team. So possibly the group as it is used in Glow Books is actually means team, but I still prefer the team. That is to say, working together, we are working for an objective commonly seen and recognized, or rather the goal commonly seen and recognized. So I see us as a team. And during our retreat, I don't remember really what question was asked, but there was this very neat impression that we are the substance of our own magical work. So we are like the the canvas and the painter and the paint all at the same time, and the artist. So out of our life, we make experiments. It is our magic. Over.
Like to share about the star work?
Yeah, just would just like to add to that sense of teamwork and we are the substance of our own magic. Just the fact that we sit a lot with questions and in a way are trying to sort of shake ourselves out of having fixed notions about how things should be, or we're living in such dynamic times that really we can't fix anything in place before it wriggles out and suggests something different. And so we're having to learn a lot of flexibility and spontaneity within a structure that is like a safety net, you know, it gives us a sense of trustworthiness in the work we do together. So the star, we meet together in a star formation, which is a concept, very powerful symbolic work initiated by the Hegel group and the Community of Living Ethics in Italy. And so there are 7. Oh, sorry, there's a background. Somebody's got a microphone. Anyway, it's a 7-pointed star, and each a point on the star holds the energy of a different ray vertex. So each of us, together we weave all these vital energies through meditation and through increasingly trying to embody and apply these different energies in our service work and in our day-to-day living and our family and relationships and basically everywhere that it permeates our way of being in the world. So Sasha, there's so much to say about this. You are, of course, in the star formation with us, or as we meet, every week. The group is always present. We are, essential to each other in this group work.
Wow.
Can anyone add anything more, Sasha? There's so much.
Yeah, just one correction that yes, this model of work was offered to us by the Hekal group and the Living Ethics community like 5 years ago or so, right?
Yep.
And it's actually changed a lot how we work. It's allowed for us different way to relate to the actual work, because by focusing ray energy, each of us focuses more on the function within the group, and that's changes the dynamic in the group. It changes the energy flow. And the actual model was suggested by Enzio Savarini in the early 80s in Italy. And then it was taken as experimental work by Urusvati group and the Living Ethics community. So you probably have heard several presentations on this topic throughout the years coming from those groups. Just can say that within our group that I focus the first ray vortex, Katya focuses second, Claire focuses the fourth, Tomasz focuses the sixth, and Daniela focuses the seventh vertices. At the moment, 2 vertices are open, and we recognize them as energy presence, and we recognize them as functioning, radiating points of light. So that's about the group.
Yeah. And as a secondary vertex, I just have to say that it's really, it changed the nature of the coordination group, of the work of coordination group. And it really restructured, I would say, group consciousness. And it allowed a really different interaction, interplay, because, you know, when one of the vertices is missing, the others need to make up. So you really engage, we really engage our subrays, so to speak. And but overall, it is it's on the one hand pretty scientific, on the other hand, it's absolutely practical, this work with arrays. But that's about it. If you have any questions, you know, if this subject is at all interesting to people, you know.
Yeah, maybe we can talk about it either later or separately, because it's a big topic on its own, and it's, as I said, it's really boosted the dynamic of the group. And but that's just the coordination group, and the 2025 initiative is much bigger than just the coordination group. It started 11 years ago as the 2012 initiative, and some of you might remember those times. And
some of you were part of those times.
Yes, and I see Maria Cristina Moral joined us. She used to be one of the co-founders of the 2012 initiative that later became 2025 initiative. Welcome, Maria Cristina.
Hi, friends.
Hello, hello.
And so it started as a impulse to bring attention to the opportunity of the festival week of the New Group of World Service in 2012. And that was the initiative, the impulse that brought us all together. And it's in a way created a boost for the acceleration of the processes of the community. I mean, the festival week of the 2012. And after that, we realized that, the momentum that we gained had to continue. And that's how the idea of the focus on the 2025 came up. And since then, activities that's our group coordinated boomed. And as of now, as you know, there's several projects and there's several groups who focalizes different activities. So it's not just when we talk about the 2025 initiative, it's not, we shouldn't talk only about the coordination group. There's several other groups who focus other activities in parallel. And so those groups have own dynamic and have own role and own function. And it's a separate topic for exploration, how all different groups connected in one organism.
And so basically, in short, it is two functions. First initiative is a platform, neutral platform that invites and allows different groups or individuals to share their work, and therefore creating a much greater circle. I think over 10, 11 years, we have about, how many presenters?
Oh, it's impossible to say.
It's impossible to say. Well, many people. So in one circle. And on the other hand, it is a platform that invites people to do practical applications, because in the end, our belief is, at least mine, that this teaching is given to us to be implemented in our daily life. So there are groups that working with different, like we have Creative Lab, right? Creative Lab for
Awakening the Souls of Our Nations.
Awakening the Souls of Our Nations. There is a New Moon work. Common Good, the daily group that works, vigil, that is invoking, that constant daily invoking the soul consciousness of humanity. And there are more. So this is the idea. And the third, and I think to me in the beginning, and still it is one of the most important one, is just to be in the group for those who are on their own, to becoming that group where people can work if they don't have the group, next to them. So that is the initiative.
And probably one more thing to add, that's from the very beginning, the key quality was that it's an experimental platform. It's a space to experiment with methods of group work for esoteric groups. And so the spirit of experiment is one of the central qualities, I would say.
Yep.
I'd like to
add, yes.
Takes me back to communication networks, my degree. The idea that in each group there is a node. In other words, the contact person. You were mentioning groups. Since I don't know what those groups are, and can you share who those nodes are? And then the idea of the rays. Actually, as the program chair at the Lodge of Theosophy, I follow the rays each month for the programs. Each month had a color and a theme. So are you following that idea that each ray has a theme? And well, the color is important to me, but I'm not clear as to how you are structuring this work with the rays.
Well, it's a big topic. It's a big conversation, and probably it would be more appropriate to have this special meeting to talk about it, and maybe have several groups to share on that. But we definitely work, each of us, and as a group together, we work with the qualities of those.
Can I answer? Like about the extra, all the groups, they're all on our website. Is that right, Daniela? No, the website on where do we do? Facebook.
The recording of the meetings.
The recording of the meetings, but different groups that work under the umbrella of 2025 initiative. The information about that would be best learned from our Facebook group?
No.
No, our webpage, yes.
Webpage, yes. So, Christine, if you're interested, maybe we should send you a link. And about the rays and colors, yes, we do. We have an understanding of that, but probably maybe in a slightly different way than Theosophy has. But it will be interesting to talk about it at a separate time. It would be very interesting, actually. So thank you.
Thank you.
So that's as a way of introduction. I don't know if Tomasz, Clara, you have anything to add about our group and the qualities of the work. Yeah. Daniela, you want to say something? Yes.
Yes. I'm not sure I'm staying on topic, but I wanted to pay notice to the different format of our programs. So the program that we started this astrological year, actually, that's my impression and that's my sense, that we changed from kind of sixth ray working out of sixth ray way of working into seventh ray with the group work we are doing this time or this year that we did last year. So there is no more, there are no more presenters and the audience, but rather we are all participating in the vision quest. So there is not one visionary, but rather it's the group vision that we are trying to reach.
Yes, and that's been the focus of our work for the last year, and it will continue this year, what we call the group vision quest, what Daniela just mentioned. Group vision quest of what is true now and what is the next right thing. So that's an ongoing topic for us that will stay with us. Though, of course, there are new elements that's defined by those realizations that we got through the retreat. And so probably it's a good time now if just go into that. So the main, one of main realizations for us was that we, different groups working together and groups that we don't know, we're all part of the externalization of ashrams. That each group that can create an adequate vehicle, the adequate chalice for receptivity of energies coming from ashrams, can become that space that receives the impulse of that ashramic energy. And thus, all those multiple groups have a chance to become these experimental spaces for the externalization of the ashramic impulses. It's not quite how we imagined what is the externalization should be, and it still will be happening. But in a way, we are forerunners, and I say we, it's like all the multiple groups who can create those receptive vehicles, forerunners for that energy. And so hierarchy works by projecting impulse of certain nodes into the group vehicles that are ready to receive those. And so, in a way, it's a call for all of us, to all our small groups that exist everywhere, to start working as if. And that's the key word. It's not that say that, oh yeah, we are so important, or that group is so important, or that group is less important. No, it's taking responsibility, working with that principle as if we work on the forefront of that process. There is a quote that's been inspiring us for many years, that the ashram is a state of group mind. And that by creating the point of tension, a focused point of tension on the mental plane, we create prerequisites to start working as an ashramic groups. I will share this quote in the chat, but just for your reference, it's a quote from Dina 1, page 707. I will talk a little bit more about this later when we will talk about the program for the year, because this quote to a large extent helped us to recognize the work ahead of us. And when I say us, I talk about the community of groups. So I will mention more of that later. The second thing that we recognize is that the work that we collectively doing, community of esoteric groups that we know and groups that we don't know.
The new group, yeah.
Which are the new group of world servers. It's a work of co-creative work of creating infrastructure of consciousness in humanity. That each of us, our groups, it's like a node in that network that Christine mentioned. And it's the same as in the human brain, where the neuron connections and neurons creates this tremendous infrastructure that defines intelligence of a person or cognitive ability of the person. The complexity of this network of light that we are part of and that we are co-creating define the, in a way, cognitive capacity of humanity. But we can use different words to describe it. It's still a symbol. It's a metaphor. But it's that infrastructure of consciousness that these multiple groups, by linking to each other, like neurons linking with each other, connecting neuron paths, we create and develop that infrastructure of light, which is, we can say that's our way how we contribute into development of consciousness of humanity. There is a beautiful video, you can Google it. I have it here, I could show it, but I don't want to distract us from that. How two neurons, under, like it's a short video done under microscope, how two neurons seeking connection with each other, creating those paths for creating the new neuronal path. So in a way, that's the work that we do by recognizing each other, connecting to each other, connecting to programs of each other, different webinars, platforms, etc. Every time we link in our meditation, it's that neuron path that lighten up, and thus the network gets expanded. And the third thing that we recognize, this magical number of 2025. We, of course, all know about the important hierarchical centennial conclave happening every 25th year of each century. And we know that this time at that conclave, the big decisions will be made. But we're not going to be invited there. We have nothing to do with this conclave. Except, yes, we're preparing the way. We do our best to prepare humanity, to prepare people's minds and hearts. And that based on the level of development of humanity, those certain decisions will be made. And that's where another important recognition for our group comes, that 2025 has another very important attribute, so to speak, attached to this. We know that it's the beginning of the new cycle of the fourth ray. And the fourth ray, it's already, we recognize its turmoils that it creates. This energy is already here, and we already dealing with it directly. And it's energy of the transforming conflict into harmony. And that's where our recognition comes. That's in a way we all are called and challenged to learn how to work with this creative energy, transforming conflict into harmony. And that's how we practically can contribute, each of us individually, each of our groups, and the new group of world service overall, how to help humanity to calm this transformational fire of learning how to deal with the fourth ray energy. And so starting this year, many of our programs will be conditioned by this recognition. Learning how practically to work with the transformative energy of conflict into harmony. And one of the key concepts that we will be working this year and the years to come probably is how to create safe space for difficult conversations. How we learn to meet the conflict and transform its creative power into the harmony. Because we know that fire can be destructive, but it also can be warming, and we can cook our food on it, we can dance around it. It's a fire of creativity. So I don't know if Claire, you want to add anything about this?
Yes, I was just thinking about, you know, the change in structure that Daniela brought into the conversation, where we've moved from the model of presenters and audience, if you like, into a more circular yarning kind of structure. And what we're hoping to engender is that sense of safety within these groups where we can actually ask the burning questions that are sitting with all of us at this very potent time in our collective story. And, you know, there's this wonderful Rumi quote, which most of you will know, I'm sure, that beyond right doing and wrongdoing, there is a field, and I will meet you there, he says. So the concept of unity through diversity, so it's not that we need to be the same or that we have to have shared ideas that are compatible even, but that we can hear each other, that we create spaces together for listening and for receptivity and spaciousness, so that where we have ideas that differ from each other, they can simply reside in the same circular space among us as potencies to consider, ideas to listen to. And that whole concept of harmony through conflict, we will always have conflict. That's not the question. It's how we navigate the conflict and how we relate to it. And it is beyond right doing or wrongdoing. It's about a weaving, as that word keeps coming up. It's the weaving. How can we be together in the same spaces and be warmed by that fire rather than burnt by it? It feels like one of the most essential themes of this time, and the most critical. If we don't learn how to do this, well, let's just say there's an opportunity here for us to learn how to do this. So yeah, I think, you know, ideally one of the things we are hoping for within this particular group, especially, I think, is that sense of us passing the stick around the group so that everybody's voices are heard in a way that feels safe. Yeah, I'll stop there.
I wonder about the flow of the meeting now. Maybe it's a good time to have a pause. And
I wondered if Thomas might have something to add to that before we take a pause, if that's all right, Sasha.
There are just two, I think, focuses. One is resonance, and the second one is group consciousness and this interconnectedness. So these are the two terms I was wondering about. And even though I'm short of time in this group, this is what I feel as kind of focus.
May I say something?
yes, please, Maria Cristina. If you can.
My hand is raised.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yes.
Sorry, yes, it is. Hi.
Nice to see you here, friends. Well, sorry, something happening here. Can you hear me?
We can hear you. Maybe someone who has microphone on just can turn off it because there's some interference. Yes, please, Maria Cristina.
Because you mentioned the first launching of the group in the year 2012. And we were a triangle, and then new people were joined after that. And when we go in a journey, it's always good to check the roadmap and the compass. And then the original idea was a preparation for the festival week in the year 2012, with all the, I don't know, the astrological influences, and then the year 2012. And it was, I consider, very successful focus of energy related to this purpose of preparation. For some group members those days, they thought, well, we have done our work and we could close the group. But the majority of people, they decided to keep it on focusing energy. But this time, as a preparation for the 2025 conclave. And all this work of preparation has to do with preparation, the way for the Christ to come. And then one point is a sine qua non condition for the preparation is establishing of right human relationship, which is the goodwill work. And then another aspect of the preparation is how to organize the earth layers or bodies into triangles, how to build triangles out of square, which is triangle and goodwill, which is the heart of the work of the new group. And then in the book White Magic, the case clear when talk about the new group, affirming that the new group is the heart of the human kingdom. And at the same time, is the ajna center of the planetary system. So when we understand what does an organ do for the whole, for the organism, what does the heart do for the human kingdom, and what does the ajna do for the planetary kingdom? And then one of the main functions of the new group, as I don't know we can find it, but is to keep the vision. Without vision, people perish, which is a function of the ajna, because of the signs that rules the new group is Scorpio and Taurus. So raising energy is Scorpio and illumining the way is Taurus. So the illumining of the way, preparing the way, or keeping the vision is the primary function of this group. Then we talk about rays, and we talk about soul, and we talk about signs. So it's good also to keep in mind that soul is quality, ray is quality, and sign is quality. And so everybody who is working with energy needed to have clear what is appearance, what is quality, and what is life, and how to weave with this understanding as a group. And then this idea to collect group of groups, as Sasha has mentioned, about to be a platform to bring group together. This is clearly in the line of establishing right human relationship in between groups. And each one keeping their own contribution, their own vision, but all synthesizing in the purpose of the new group, which is to keep the vision and to prepare the way. And from 2012 to now, it's 11 years old.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good time, because we are going to have a new 7-year cycle just after the conclave in 2025, which is, it's a special meeting, and Sasha, we have to participate of this meeting, not on the level they meet, but as the recipient of their decision. Because the new group, being the heart and being the ajna, means literally the causal body of the human kingdom, or the chalice, or the recipient. So we need to be aligned, prepared, and open to receive the new vision, to distribute the new energy that's going to be result of the decision taken in the year 2025. Mm-hmm. And because we are now on the Aries, there's no Aries without Libra. And Aries is the head of God, which is fire, and Libra is the law. So we can see how this, the age of Aries was started. Moses going up to the mountain, talking to God as fire, this is Aries, and receiving the law written in stone, which is Libra. So at this moment, we have a minor moment of decision as well. And because it's when the two sides are in balance, the middle way can be seen. The next step can also be seen. And it is said that Libra is the way to Shambhala. And then we see that today, how many planets we have in Aries. We have Jupiter in Aries, we have Chiron, we have Mercury in Aries, the Sun in Aries, and only Neptune is not in Aries. So everything is starting again. And Aries is resurrection. And there's no resurrection without death. So I am glad we are keeping on meeting. Sometimes we can meet online, but my commitment with the group since the year 2012 is daily meditating, strengthening the inner link, and the connection with the ashram. actually, Sasha, we work with the hypothesis that the new group is externalization of DK's ashram. So he is the inner ashram, and the new group is externalization of the ashram. Why? Because the new group is formed by aspirants, by probationer. So we don't have a vibration stable to contact major ashrams. So we have working with the new group, which is the externalization. What does DK instruct the new group? He said, use my ashram as a door to the hierarchy. He also said, the ashram is for the group, what the soul is for the individual. So what does the soul is for the individual? The source of light, the source of love, and the source of strength. So when we gather as a group, we are a reflex from the case ashram, actually. And one of his name is Mercury, which is very well fit for the ajna, because Mercury rules the forehead.
I think it's very important recognition that we all related with each other and with the ashram, and that it's a collective process. It's not just about recognitions of one's group, is that we embody that receptive for that emanating energy of the ashram, of decay ashrams, or like the wider, the ashram of the Christ, which is the hierarchy.
Thank you, Mike.
Sorry.
Thank you.
Sorry. Because one of, we study science. So we have to build a triangle, study meditation and service. So the guidelines we found in the science. And then he said, when the inner link is strong enough, the inner link is externalized. And then the inner link make us to meet outside at the outer plane. And then when we meet, we recognize. And we know that we have been doing the same work for many times or many lives. Thank you.
Maybe let's have our pause and reflect together, because it's not about the words, but about receptivity and hearing what resonates within us. Claire, do you have music for us? You're muted, Claire.
I do, Sasha. Sorry, I was just trying to find it. Yes, perhaps it's a good time to take a pause and just let everything land before we enter our full Huga exchange with the group. This is a piece by Avo Pärt, who's an Estonian composer. It's called Furalina, and it's just about 2 minutes long, but very quiet and spacious. I need to share my screen, don't I?
Yes.
Here we go.
It's coming.
several years, the image of golden chalice been a visual centerpiece for our work, and Claire offered that image a few years ago, and this is a new image of that she found, and it really has that radiant quality. It's became in a way symbol for group heart and symbol for group Antahkarana. And this equinox, we worked with the symbol of two chalices. One chalice receptive, and when the chalice is turned around, it becomes a bell, become a sounding chalice. And that's exactly what Maria Cristina, one of the things Maria Cristina just mentioned. It's our responsibility to be receptive and sounding chalice. And for that, we need to listen deeply and be very clear in the note of our sound. Each group has own note, own function, own role. And the better each of us will sound that note of own group chalice, the more rich the music of the hierarchy will manifest. So I suggest we now open the floor for sharing, and yeah, in our invitation we suggested to prepare a hot drink or something that it would be to make us cozy and as informal as possible. So maybe it's our time for our cozy sharing. And I will grab hot water for my tea.
So I see Jim Clark joining us. You came a little later, Jim. We're now down to our Hygge part, which is the exchange of thoughts and opinions. And you're welcome.
So just, yeah, please feel free to unmute yourself and share.
Well, I'll start by sharing. I found this meeting really quite informative. I will say that I have been a regular participator since 2019 with the 2025 initiative, when you held the week for the new group of world servers. That was when Dot Maver instituted the Silent Minute. It's when Michael Robbins used the platform to share about the esoteric UN. There were a lot of pieces happening. It was the start of the daily vigil, because after meeting for that whole week for every day, there was the impetus to continue. And so I was there through that, and I continued basically since that time. And yet I never had the perspective that you've shared today, which I think is interesting, being literally a daily participant with the 2025 group. So I think that that's an important piece. The group that I'm with basically is the economy of the one life through the Sustainable Development Goals. We were given space on the platform, which we held for a year, but we were not public. So although we met, we couldn't be seen by anyone else. And it was real clear that many of the initiatives that were being offered, Creative Lab for one, we did the same kind of work. We've been working with basically the common good. The focus has been on working with nations, on our part, through the UN, but also we're involved in the American group or Disciple of America. And so basically our work has dovetailed and been the same. And I thought it was interesting when it was mentioned that you are the magic. I think our group has been working with the seventh ray, and we understand it by saying we are the prototype, which in some ways is the same thing. So as the energy of the plan, as the energy of the seventh ray, as the energy of love wisdom goes through us, there is that synthesis, but it's not just being projected. We are that at the same time. We are holding that higher note for humanity as we breathe them over the 17 sustainable goals. So much of the work is very similar. And once we went public, I will put that in quotes, on the 2025 initiative, it was my commitment to be more involved in all of the things where we have a like-mindedness, because even when you're looking at the questions to ask of what's true, what's our next step, we're basically looking at that too as we move through. And we've made a lot of changes in terms of working with the new group of world servers, who are the groups that support the initiatives at the UN, for instance, and don't go by that name, but their open-heartedness is the boots on the ground that makes that work. So it's a different way of working with the energies, but I think we're all standing within hierarchy, using our vehicles to make that next step happen. So thank you.
Thank you, Judy. Yeah, no, the presence is felt, and it's there's a lot of, I think, inner camaraderie that we just, start putting, names on this, and it is, it's precious. Thank you.
I just like to refer to two markers that we will be back to this time where Pluto goes into Aries in 2043 on March the 8th. I probably won't be here. But I do want to make the question out there for what I have heard about the sixth ray, and I'd like comment at some point that it is going out when I have lost track, but that's something I want to enter into the conversation. Thank you.
Sorry, Christine, can you repeat the questions about the entrance of the seventh ray? So it's, I have to admit,
okay. I said
I got a little bit distracted. Yeah, go ahead, Christine.
the ray of devotion, because of the seventh ray, it follows, in my estimation. So somebody's just put something up here. Did you just post this?
No, that's what I did, distracted on, because I was hoping to share that the quote that I will talk a bit later. Sorry.
It doesn't need, it doesn't need immediate attention, but it is in my genre. Okay, that's all I'm saying.
Well, that's another thing about the recognition, that as we learn to work with the fourth ray, what I mentioned, it's the same time we learn to work with the seventh ray. So those two rays become predominantly present for us. And the practicality of those two rays is actually pretty, how do you say, right into our face. We are called to learn with both of those energies. And so in a way, it's like a magical number 47, 4 and 7s together. And the cycle of the seventh ray changing the sixth ray is much bigger cycle than the smaller cycle of the fourth ray that we're dealing with now. The seventh ray being coming into gradual manifestation already for 500 years. And by different estimates, the different dates of that actual beginning of the seventh ray. I'm not prepared to talk about that now, but just for us is always, for our group is always the question of the practical side of that. And it's one of other things that Maria Cristina also mentioned, is that creating tangible structure that allows us to work together, creating that neuron paths between our groups. It's that practical aspect of the seventh ray energy that our group been working with from right away. It was in a way, founding impulse for us. And it's question probably for each of our groups to reflect on. What is that our function within the system of the groups, practical function, considering the structure and the seventh ray presence. We recognize for ourselves our function is organization and communion. That's what the 2025 initiative does.
It is also integrating function and synthesis to the point that is available to us. Yeah, on a certain level as a group, we reach that point of, sometimes the energy of synthesis. And that was my impression when we were doing that the week, festival week in 2019. All of a sudden felt that the work reached a different level, and that group that we keep talking about for so many years all of a sudden became not quite tangible yet, but reachable, because you meditate for decades, you say the name and a little part of it, but the vast presence was, at least by me and by us as a group, felt really in 2019. And that was such a difference from 2012, you know, such a step. So I'm just seriously looking forward to 2026.
The next festival.
The next festival week, when we actually, I think, can make a next effort and bring through much greater presence of the world. New group. I don't know. It's not so new anymore, but still new group, right? And
I see, Claire, your hand is raised. Just one thing to add here. Just considering this 7-year cycle, we are now actually in the middle point between the 2 festival weeks, 2019 and 2026. So we're in the 4th year of the 7-year septenary cycle. And so it's for us, it's definitely important to start looking towards the next festival week. How we envision it? What is that can be about? Over to you, Claire.
Thanks, Sasha. I just wanted to speak back into Christine's question about the 6th ray and it being an outgoing energy. I think I heard that correctly, Christine, about it being an outgoing energy. But yeah, I was just thinking about, you know, it's devotion, but the shadow the shadow expression of devotion expresses as zealousness and over-identification when it comes to religious or political ideologies, etc. And that's what we're seeing everywhere in evidence at the moment. That sort of over-attachment to a particular way of thinking. And that's the shadow of devotion. So it segues so beautifully, really, into the 4th ray, which is, you know, trying to find the harmony through that conflict, because that shadow expression of the 6th ray creates so much divisiveness, and we see it everywhere. Yeah, so the incoming 4th and 7th rays are helping us establish a wholly new structure within which to work more effectively.
Well,
Thank you.
oh dear.
I would just like to share one thing on the 6th ray. While it is going out, it also is the ray of ideals and idealism. And you think about brotherhood and the idea of what the Christ brought in 2,000 years ago. And the 7th ray now is about manifestation. So I think there are good qualities too that have been left as the legacy for us to work with through the 7th ray.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I guess I would chime in a little.
Yes, please.
And for me, it's more, I have to say, directly from the Tibetan, from the rays and the initiations, where he kind of sums it up a little, and then in one phrase before he writes more, and that is to toil in Pisces, responsive to the Aquarian impulse. That's how he defines our work today, because illumined by Taurus, he also adds, but the field that we work in has been determined indeed by Pisces, the field where that's what has conditioned and ruled for the last 2,000 years. Anyway, he himself says it's the energy which produces mediation and develops sensitivity, with work that has been so successful that it has produced a mediating group of servers, which I would say we can identify with. And that how this group then can act as an intermediary between hierarchy and humanity, because it indeed is hierarchy who is most being impulsed by the incoming energy of Aquarius. So we toil in Pisces, illumined by Taurus, but inspired, and I lost the Esta, inspired by Aquarius and this incoming energy of, I would come to mind the Lords of Liberation, liberty, equality, and fraternity, community and freedom, and unity and diversity. That's all.
Good to hear you, Maria Cristina. Thank you.
Thank you, God. Thank you.
Might I add something? Okay. I know we're taught not to look for results in our decision making and so forth, but I can't help to have seen some of the results lately, more and more lately, of I think work we do and all good souls are doing. An article appeared in our last Sunday's paper here in Columbus, Ohio. There was a woman, an African-American woman, who was commenting on the work that they're doing in their Columbus Urban League and various organizations. But she said, will we develop our own local database that captures the strengths of all of our communities? Will we fund the programs that realize aspirations rather than just solve problems? These questions extend far beyond Columbus. And her point was that we can over rely on defining problems and get ourselves caught in that negative thought space and that limiting thought space. And I thought, this sounds like the sort of thinking we've been talking about today, looking to aspiration as a way of serving. And I think probably we've helped inspire her, perhaps, you know, the not just us, but spiritual workers have helped inspire her to a higher vision, even though she's not, and maybe she is, I suppose she is a spiritual worker, but she doesn't claim that link, you know, consciously. So anyway, I thought that was really tied in with what many of you have talked about today, and was just a wonderful sign of the effect that our group thinking and higher aspirations and thoughts and ideas that we create in our groups have on those that are doing more concrete work, maybe in the more physical world. Thank you.
Thank you,
Lynn. Yes.
A comment on that is like, it's interesting. I hope that the whole shift will include aspiration, of course, and also the realization that seeing the problem can be very, positive. And everybody who ever done accounting knows that finding that little penny that's hides somewhere there is a absolutely joyful moment when you find your own error and you know where it is and you know how to correct it. It is indeed a joyful experience. I mean, sometimes it comes with a lot of loss, then it's of course upset, but still, even through that, it can be joy. And I hope humanity is slowly shifting towards that possibility. Yeah.
Yeah, I think her absolutely right. But I think her point was that not to focus on the problem too long, but to identify and then bring in those ideas and aspire to a higher level of energy and thought and creativity, which I think we've addressed a lot here today too.
Anna, your hand is raised. Please unmute yourself.
Yes, thank you. I felt the need to say something about me and to thank you, all of you. because everything that has been said has resonated a lot. And I knew the 2012 initiative, but it was difficult for me because of the language. And in the meanwhile, I've been learned more about the language. So now I'm able to attend the meeting. Probably you know Antonella Nobilio and the group here in Italy. I'm related to them in some way. And I think that today is it has been very interesting because I've been also participating to the daily meditation for a while last year when I didn't work, and have the possibility to see the people and to learn more about what has inspired you, what is going on, helps to feel the connection of what I'm doing here in my little small part into something which is bigger, even if I don't see the link at the moment. And I would be interested to share more in the next conversation about this. And now, because I've been studying for a long time, how to hold the space in order to allow the future, which is coming, which wants to come. And we are usually in the mainstream, we are being trained to follow the rules from someone else, the external authorities, and to have immediate results. And when we do something like today, and we simply hold the space and feel the connection, we are allowing something which is greater than us. And that's the best thing that we can do. And it's incredible to do that today. And so I'm very grateful for you. That's my point. Thank you.
Thank you, Anna. Yeah, it's something we learn by doing and being open to this experimental flow and combining both fourth and seventh race qualities, structure and the creative flow. And still I'm aware of the Saturnian limitations of the time for us. So we'll have to come to closing soon, and there's still a few things that I didn't voice, and but yeah, Jill, over to you. Please unmute yourself.
I hope you can still hear me. I've been having a few problems with you disappearing. I didn't hear quite a bit of that, but I'm still keep going from being very active to being very inactive, and I'm hoping that I shall soon settle into a rhythm and be able to sort of participate continuously instead of sometimes saying what I feel is too much and then not being able to say enough. But one thing I've thought about our role at the moment is that we need to put out an aura of calm for people, because the time is very upsetting for everybody. And if we can just sort of spread a bit of optimism and calm, that will be helpful. Thanks.
Thank you, Jill. Your contributions are always valuable. Laurie, please unmute yourself.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for this work, Alexander, Katya. Much appreciation, and ditto to me, to Jillian. I too have not participated as much as I would really like to. But it's an honor to be here. And the opening meditation, the music was so beautiful, really stirred the heart. Thank you so much. Yeah, so many thoughts are stimulated, especially along astrological lines and radiological. You know, Neptune moves into Pisces. I believe it's March 30th, 2025. Neptune, we know, is very synonymous with the heart of the sun, the energies of the Christ, you know, Aries, first seventh ray coming through it, seventh ray manifestation. So I see 2025 being so powerful, not just in terms of a new fourth ray cycle coming in, but the manifestation of the Christ as well. And, you know, I think the study of the ray colors, the sounds, and their zodiacal relationships is going to really strengthen in 2025 as well, being on the, you know, the fourth ray. DK speaks of that a lot in Letters on Occult Meditation. And just thinking back what you began this in 2012, Uranus was in Aries. And here we are today, you know, new moon, equinox in Aries, you know, Uranus, seventh ray, Aries, first ray. And so, and the stellium of planets in Aries today, this is really, I think, activating in a very potent way the seed you planted in 2012, right? Activating the Uranian energy, so to speak. And I didn't know you were speaking about these ray vertices, the coordinating group that you have. And, you know, I think that the rays are such a higher set of energies beyond the constellations, and the potency of the work you're doing, just, I'm trying to wrap my head around it, and heart. Thank you so much for what you're doing, and I hope to participate more in the future.
Thank you, Lori. Good to see you. I miss our gatherings in Arizona. I hope Seventh Ray Institute will come back to Arizona for all of us to be together again on the physical plane.
Me too.
All of us, I think. Yeah.
It's time-wise, we come very close to the end, but I feel that the conversation that we just started should continue. And while we were sharing is that Clara sent me a message asking, like, should we ask now about the format of our work, etc.? Because there are questions that we would like contribution from the community. And so probably we'll have to call kind of, in a way, forum, asking for contributions from everyone and get the feedback. Because we realized that we cannot put this year our programs kind of in structure, in stones, and for the entire year. Things change so fast. And we recognize that it's up to us to be as structured and fluid at the same time as possible. And so that's what we're trying to do. So I invite us to continue this conversation in a few weeks' time. And there's one more thing that I wanted to mention before closing this meeting and going to that coming meeting, is that what I said that I will mention at the end, closer to the end, about our program. There are many activities happening, but we're still open for new impulses, new ideas. So if your group would like to offer a creative lab or a program, please get in touch with us. Let's communicate. And that's possible because, we see us as a platform and we work as within the system of the groups, and that's our service. In more practical level, in terms of the coming programs, this quote that I shared in the chat from Dinah 1, page 707, inspired us to deep reflections of the meaning of what is the outer ashrams. And in this season of three great spiritual festivals, Aries, Taurus, Gemini, we will be holding this quote and recognizing the keynote for each month as a stage of the group formation. In the Aries Festival, the 2025 initiative, together with the Hikal Group, will be participating at the Unity of Europe conference organized by Philip Lindsay. And there we will present what we call meditative attitude that allows to create safe space for difficult conversations. And Europe being in the center of the war conflict now, is this very difficult topic will come in this kind of conference. And we invite us all to hold a space of safe conversation as if we are being an outer ashram, functioning as an outer ashram. And then as we come to Taurus, we will be working together with the Seventh Ray Institute conference, standing together in the light of the Vesak, together meditating, as it says in this quote, holding the point of mutual contact. And that's would be the main note for the Vesak, listening together. In Aries, we hear different views, different opinions. In Vesak, we'll stand together listening one sound. And in Gemini, we will co-organize, again, together with the Hikal Group, an interactive event, the Gemini Forum or Gathering, we don't know how it will be called, but it will focus on the practical aspects of how we transform conflict into harmony. It will be as practical as possible, and it will be the time when we come to share through discussion, to recognize the energies at play and how the forces at play can be reduced to powerlessness. That's how we recognize our program for the next few months. But the rest of the year, we will be feels like greatly conditioned by our work that we all together will be doing in this coming 3 months, through this coming 3 festivals. Working with meditative attitude as if we are an externalization, the outer ashrams, all of our groups working as one organism. So to be continued. Thank you, friends. And over to you, Claire.
So yes, it's been a rich time of co-creative exchange. So thank you everyone for beautiful contributions, and really look forward to more of this kind of circular huga together as a group. Before we go, this is how we will go. We will take our leave today. I'm going to read or share with you a poem in the way of a blessing by a woman named Susan Stinson, who's an American poet. And after that, we'll play a piece of music that you're welcome to stay in the room and listen to as we return to our days, our evenings, our afternoons. Yeah, and thank you so much for everything you brought to today. So I'll share my screen and invite you to close your eyes while I read this blessing. May your hands weather with grace. May your fingers smell good. May chill on your arms keep you alive to your skin as much as warmth might do. May you grieve when you need to, and know your own lacks with matter-of-fact awareness, like you know the landscape of leaving where you sleep to begin the day. Leave the sleep, begin the day. Offer things, work, build, step towards others. Take a lean and a fall as a chance to spin on the floor on your back. Gather your courage. Make beautiful meals. Know your gifts and delight in them with specific, attentive vigor. Shovel, pedal, cruise. Oh, my darlings, listen as if you mean it, as if it matters, as if that act in itself were consuming and a kind of completion. When the moment opens, answer. We are our ordinary, extraordinary lives. They have such depths and textures. We brush against the nap in relationship, or we're pressed to the push, or something's jabbing. A broken zipper, the plastic stem of an old tag. But we dress in the fabrics of the lives near ours, however we bring them near. Such clothes, such colors. And now the last word blessing. You're welcome to stay, of course, in the group until the song comes to an end. Much love, everyone. Take care.
Enter the wild with care, my love, and speak the things you see. Let new names take and root and thrive and grow. And even as you travel far from heather, crag and river, may you, like the little fisher, set the stream alight with glitter. May you enter now as otter, without falter, into water. Look to the sky with care, my love, and speak the things you see. Let new names take and root and thrive and grow. And even as you journey on, past dying stars exploding like the gilded one in flight, leave your little gifts of light. And in the dead of night, my darling, find the gleaming eye of starling. Like the little aviator, sing your heart to all dark matter. Through the world with care, my love, and sing the things you see. Let new names take and root and thrive and grow. And even as you stumble through Macher sands eroding, let the fern unfurl your grieving. Let the heron still your breathing. Let the me swim you deeper, oh my little silver seeker. Even as the air grows bleaker, be the singer and the speaker, and in city and in forest, let the larks become your chorus. And when every hope is gone, let the raven call you home.
Thank you, everyone. Much love. See you next time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Much love.